So, I bought a new camera. I wasn't planning on getting this, but it was on such a good deal that I just sort of caved and did it. And recently I've been noticing every time I use my G85, my Lumix G85, every time I use it, I'm just so disappointed because it's so much worse than the quality of my A7 IV. So, I got an FX30. This is the Sony FX30. It is the sort of lowest tier in the cinema line of Sony cameras. It is a bit cheaper than the A7 IV itself, but it has a lot of features that the A7 IV doesn't, and it's built more for video. This is an APS-C size sensor, or Super 35. That's really the only downside, because the FX3 is like twice the price of this, so I couldn't get that at the moment. So we went with an FX30, and basically my idea with this is going to be my sort of main video camera. That will be my main photo camera and also my other video camera, but it'll depend what sort of focal length I need, depending if I need full frame or Super 35. So this video is just gonna be mostly an unboxing, so I'm gonna try not to ramble too much. So let's just get started. In the top first, now I should have set up a second camera for this, but I couldn't be bothered. So in this first bit, we open these up, we have all the paperwork and stuff. That's pretty standard. And then we also have a USB-C to USB-A cable. Again, standard for charging and data transfer. I did get the version of the FX30 that comes with the top handle. So this is the audio top handle. I'll open that after the body though. Alright, we'll get the boring stuff out of the way. Charging, and there will be an AC adapter in here somewhere. So down in here we got the battery, of course, FZ100. I also got another FZ100 battery in this order. So I now have 4 of them total. One came with each camera, plus and now I have 2 spares. So I have 2 spare batteries, and then this would be this would be the AC adapter. So same deal that came with the A7 IV. And then I guess we get onto the main part now, which is this. Right, and that's pretty much it for the box, it looks like. So this feels, without opening it, it feels a bit thicker than the A7 IV, and it is. So basically, there we go. It's actually lighter than I expected. I guess there's no battery and stuff in it. The grey paint of the cinema line. And so the main difference between this and the FX3 is the sensor. So you can see that's not a particularly big sensor. That's Super 35 or APS-C, which is common among very professional cameras. Like, you know, there's the RE35, which is like one of the best cinema cameras in the world at the moment. That's Super 35. A lot of cinema cameras are Super 35, but the biggest downsides with APS-C is less light. You are forced into a tighter focal length because of the crop, because it's a 1.5 times crop compared to full frame. So that means that my 20mm will act like a 30mm lens on this, sort of. Because this is designed for full frame, but using it on an APS-C sensor, you're actually going to cut out a lot of the distortion. So it actually might work better than a 30mm lens. Maybe, I don't know for sure about that. But quick tour of the camera. Now, like I said before, it's lighter than I expected. I think it's 600 and something grams, which may actually be lighter than the A7 IV, but I'm not sure. As you can tell, there are some quarter 20 mounts here. So there's 2 here for the audio handle, or for other things if you don't use that. There's another one on the top, and then there's one on each side, there and there. Now, I did actually get a cage for this, and I'll show you that in a sec, but the cage on this is actually really nice. It attaches quarter 20 on the bottom and then quarter 20 on either side. On the front of the camera, as you can see, there's a few notable things here. There's a custom button that is default set to record, and honestly, I think I'll keep it on record, so you can press record from the front. That means there will be 3 total ways to hit record without changing anything except making the shutter able to record. Also on the front, right here, is actually a tally light, so when you are recording, the light will go red so you can see it that it's recording. There's also tally light on the back here, and this record button itself lights up. On the top, now we have the wheel on the front and the back for, you know, standard would be shutter speed and aperture. I might actually change them. I'll need to decide what I end up doing with the custom settings and everything, but on the top, all of the buttons are set to like specific video centric things. So we have iris, white balance, and ISO on those 3 buttons there. Also on the top, you have the joystick. Now this will be interesting having the joystick on the top, because I'm used to having the joystick on the back that you use with your thumb. Now you can still use it with your thumb, or it sort of depends how you hold it. I think these cameras like this and the FX30, they're designed more to be held like this, because you're not taking photos, you don't need your finger on the shutter button. So you more sort of hold it like this, and you can, you know, press record with your thumb, or, you know, do the controls on the joystick with your thumb. And then, of course, there's that record button right there, which is nice and big, and it lights up when it's recording. Also on the top, we have the multi-interface shoe, which, you know, is how the audio handle attaches. And then one thing you might notice is there's no viewfinder, which I actually find quite nice, because I like barely ever use the viewfinder on my A7 IV. Some people do. They like can't live without a viewfinder for photos, and some people really even like viewfinders for video. I've just never used them, so I'm okay with the screen and the monitor, like the Ninja 5 that I have on right now. So I'm totally fine with that, and I think it's a good thing, because it makes it smaller and just a bit more compact. On the left side, we have slightly different doors for the I/O. So these are a bit more sturdy. They're more solid than the sort of like stiff rubber that's on the alpha cameras. So the full-size HDMI opens out that way. So then we have the 2, you know, audio and then USB doors here. So we have headphone and mic, and then the USB-C and the multi-interface, or the multi-function USB. Is a micro USB basically, but it can do a bunch of things, like connect it to a gimbal, something like that. So that's good, and they're nice and easy to open too, which is handy. And then of course, as you can see here, there's actually a vent, because there's a fan inside here, so you're never going to have any overheating problems with a camera like this, because you can have that fan on, and that's the same as the FX30 as well. The body of the FX30 and the FX3 is almost identical. Alright, on the other side, just the media door, we got dual SD and CF Express Type A card slots, and then on the back, finally, well actually quickly, on the bottom, single quarter 20 mount. Not very cinema of it to have only 1 mount, and like ideally it would have 2, but you know, what are you gonna do? And then battery door for said battery, and then on the back, pretty standard, a little bit different for, you know, compared to things like the A7 IV. We have focus magnification right here. We have the function menu, that's pretty standard. We have the wheel and the D-pad. Okay, display, that's always up, is always display. But then we have peaking, shutter, and zebra on the wheel as like shortcuts, basically as custom buttons. You have your 4th custom button, and then you have your play media, obviously. Because of the vent in the back end, the fan, the screen is actually slightly further back, so it sticks out a little bit. That's why it feels a bit thicker than, again, A7 IV. I keep comparing them just because that's what I have. This screen is apparently just over 2 million dots, whereas the screen on the A7 IV is just over 1 million dots, so this should be a much better quality screen. And then they did move the menu button. They did this on the FX3. The menu button is here on all of the alpha cameras, but they've moved it to here, which I actually like. A lot of people in reviews of the FX3 and stuff, they don't like that just because it's different to the other cameras, but I actually like that because then you can easily do stuff with one hand. I think that's a lot better. Just means that now power button, or power switch really, is on the other side, and it's a switch, it's not a button, and it's not the like the little switch around the shutter button. Speaking of, instead of having a switch around the shutter button as the power, it's actually a zoom rocker. Last thing, there's a mode button here where the menu button is on most other cameras, and that's basically instead of the wheel. There is no mode dial on here, so you just have to press mode and then either use the touchscreen or, you know, the arrows or the joystick to move stuff around. So that's pretty much the overall physical overview. Let's go into the audio handle. Now, just like feeling it now, and I knew it was gonna feel like this, it does feel kind of cheap and kind of light, but that is why I got the small rig kit for this. So it comes with a cage and it comes with the extension for this arm. So let's quickly just put it on the camera. Now if I ever use this like properly, I'll probably, you know, get the little flathead screwdriver that comes on the bottom of small rig cages, tighten that real quick. Let's do some peels here real quick. Now the handle has 2 1/4-20 mounts on the top and 1 on the back. Obviously you got a little mic holder here, which has sort of like it's a bit loose, so it sort of acts like a shock mount, and there's a bit of rubber in there, but that's not gonna hold a lot of microphones. So what most people do is you can get some cheap like microphone spacers on Amazon. So you can just open this up, put that around the mic, and then put the mic in there. So on the front, there's not really anything. On the side here, we have the inputs. So on this side, we've got 2 XLR inputs. Now this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get a camera like this, because of the XLR inputs, because I hate syncing audio and recording it separately. Just doing audio separately is annoying if you're the one doing everything. So XLR straight into the camera is gonna be a game changer. So there's 2 XLR inputs and then also a 3.5mm input there, and you can have up to 4 channels going through here. And then on the back you can select like how it all works. So you basically choose which input you want to go to channel 1 and 2. So you can go input 1 will go to both channel 1 and 2. You can go input 1 and 2 goes to channel 1 and 2, or you can have input 3 go to channel 1 and 2. So depending on how you want it set up, if you want a safety track, if you want just all the channels, then you can do all that. And then on the other side here under this little clear cover, you just have all your audio controls, you know, attenuation, whether it's like a mic, a line, or a mic plus phantom power. And there are also like auto and manual stuff. So I'm gonna test out how the auto works, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So now I'm gonna throw this lens on just so this camera will sit still. So I'm just gonna go get the cage and we'll just quickly put that on. And this, honestly, this is probably going to be how I run this camera a lot of the time with this 20mm lens, because I don't have any sort of medium like or standard zoom lenses. A 35mm would be really good for an APS-C camera like this, because that's 50mm full frame equivalent. Maybe at some point I'll get a 35, but I still do want to get a 50, but we'll see. So this, honestly, pretty light, but I don't have a battery or SD card in there, and there's obviously no mics going on here. Now if I do use it just sort of handheld like this, I may not use the audio handle. I might just put my top handle on here, or even just run it without anything, because you can just, you know, run a regular mic and put it in the side here. So this is the cage that I got. I've already put the strap on it, because again, I got a kit. It's the handheld cage kit from Small Rig. Comes with the cage. Now with the cages on the FX3 and FX30, it actually doesn't, the full cage doesn't have that top bit, because it needs to allow for the top handle. So basically, the cage will go around like that, and you can still run the top handle. But then if you don't want to run the top handle, you can then just screw this on to where you would screw on the top handle, and then you have, you know, extra mounts, a NATO rail, and slightly more cage, but it doesn't block any of the buttons. This kit also came with a HDMI clamp, so I might use this a bit as well. There's just a single 1/4-20 thread that goes there. This will screw right onto that, and then you can clamp on your HDMI cable so it doesn't move. And then it also came with the extension and support for the top handle. So this will go on right there. That'll screw on, make it a bit longer, and add some more mounting stuff at the back, including a 3/8" thread with the RE locating pins, a couple 1/4-20s on either side, and a cold shoe at the back. And then on the top, we just have that extension there that'll add another 2 3/8" mounts with RE locating pins, and then 5 more 1/4-20 mounts, and just give it some more rigidity. And then this will also give it rigidity from the bottom, and, you know, add finger grooves. So that'll be good. I'll put them on after this video, but that'll be it for this one. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more videos, because I'm gonna be making plenty more, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.